So good evening again and welcome everyone. As you know, this is the third of our Zoom training sessions for president-elects in our district. If you can remember, way back 3 months ago, we started on membership, and we had Connie Ichinose, our district membership chair, join us that evening to talk about what we need to know as presidents with regarding to membership, how to set membership goals, how to engage all of our members in growing our membership, and the importance of continuing to grow our membership, if for nothing else, at least to replace the attrition in our clubs that happens no matter what you do. And then in our second session, we had Josh Laguana join us, and we focused on public image and the importance of public image and what is a public image. How do you influence and create a public image? What's involved in public image? And then tonight, our focus will be on the Rotary Foundation, and again, the focus on what do you need to know as a president with regard to the Rotary Foundation? Why is it important that we donate to the Rotary Foundation? How can you motivate your members to do that? And what's the importance of the Rotary Foundation to the service that we do in all of our clubs? So that's where we are tonight. In coming attractions, we'll take a break in December. I'm sure we all have lots of things going on. And then we'll reconvene in January. And our January session will be a Saturday morning. So please block this off on your calendar. It's Saturday morning, January 20th. And that will run from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So it's a long block of time, but we'll take a couple of breaks during that time. And we have a whole lot to cover there, reviewing the systems that we need to use in My Rotary and Club Runner, and getting us ready for our in-person pets. That is February 1st through 4th. And that's at the Los Angeles Airport Marriott. And hopefully you've either registered or you got a reminder from me today to go and do your registration. So if you have not registered, you need to find that personal registration link that was sent out from Southwest Pets, because it is personal to you. It can't be used by other people. If you're not able to find that, then let me know and I'll have them resend it. There are a few of you that haven't received one yet because they just got your names today. So you should be getting something within the next few days. So that's kind of the roadmap of where we've been so far and where we're going next. Let's try a little interactive exercise to kick us off this evening. And I'll share my screen here. So if you're not on a phone and you have your phone available, pick up your phone, and I'm going to ask you to scan the QR code that's on the screen and go to the website menti.com. Or if you have trouble scanning QR code, you can also just open your browser and go to menti.com and use the code that you see at the top of your screen. So I'll give you a minute to find your phones and scan the QR code. It should bring you to a page that at the top says Mentimeter. And then it shows our first question that we're going to do a word cloud real quickly. And you have three opportunities. It says in one word, but you can put in three different words. In one word, why would someone join your Rotary Club? And go ahead and enter your words and click submit. We're getting leadership development, fellowship, community service, community fun.
Ted, I don't see the code in front of me because somehow I got to a screen that I'm not sure how to get out of. What is the code?
So if you're on menti.com,
Yeah.
you can enter a code number that says 5787 5615.
Thank you.
And then you can type in 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to get back to the normal screen.
Difference, fellowship, impact. Make a difference. Yeah. Leadership development, Ohana. Everybody get a chance to put in a word? Here's a few more. Impact, service, aloha, service-oriented, good projects, welcoming, impactful, fun, all good words. So good reasons why someone would be attracted to join our club and want to be part of our club. So let's go on to the next question. In one word, why donate to the Rotary Foundation? Why would someone donate to the Rotary Foundation? So same process, type in 1, 2, or 3 words and hit submit. And we're getting words like service projects, impact, support a good cause, give love, makes a difference, help others, service, support, good charity, disaster recovery for the greater good, support a good cause, support peace in the world. Great. So that was just a little interactive exercise. If you do any Zoom meetings with your club, this is a tool that you can use for free. If you want to add an interactive part to a club meeting, we will, when we get to pets, we'll spend some more time talking about the club experience and how do we have everybody engaged in our clubs, and that we're making sure that our meetings are interesting and that we're also having fun. So that's mentimeter.com if that's something you want to reference later, something you want to try in your club. So hopefully that's a good lead in. These are all great words. Hopefully that's a good lead in to our featured topic this evening. Let me try to stop sharing here if I can find it. And I'm seeing everything except for stop sharing. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, back to this. So hopefully that's a great lead into our featured topic this evening. And we're very lucky to have with us Dave Mosdren. And Dave's a member of Rotary Club of Honolulu Sunrise. And he's currently a key member of our district foundation committee. And starting next year, he's going to step up to be the chair of our district foundation committee. So Dave, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Ted. I appreciate it. I'm going to be looking for someone who would be willing to be my scribe, so they keep track of some money I'm going to give away, or some, I should say, points. So anybody willing to do that? Caroline?
I saw
Caroline said yes. She said, oh, get some points. I'll do that. All right. And at the bottom of your page, there's a section that says reactions. And when you click on reactions, you see at the bottom, raise hands. Can I see if everybody can find that and raise their hands? All right.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's got their hands raised.
No.
I don't see anything that says hands. Oh, here it is.
Under reactions at the bottom bar. Which
No,
where's
mine's at the
mine
top. Mine's at the
Okay.
top of the screen.
You find it? Good. Now, if you hit it again, it'll lower the hands. All right. So if you can, Caroline, if you can look at that and tell me who, when we get to a question, I'm going to ask people to raise their hand and see if they can answer a particular question. And we're going to give away some recognition points today for you folks and hopefully get closer to your next Paul Harris Fellow. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay, you should be seeing my screen. Let me know if you've got that.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking about the Rotary Foundation's mission, and the mission of the Rotary Foundation is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvements of health and the support of education and the alleviation of poverty. But what we want to try to do today is that provide you folks with some additional tools. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not, of what's going to help you with your year through the Rotary Foundation and how that's going to basically improve your job. And I'm trying to advance my slide and it doesn't want to advance. Okay, did it advance? No. There we go. All right, so you folks know that this coming Tuesday, which is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, is the Giving Tuesday. So it's a great time if you haven't sent out an email to people and remind them that this would be a great time to give to the Rotary Foundation. There's days like this that are a great impetus to go out to your members and ask them to give to the Rotary Foundation and remind them of what it can do for your club as well as for the community. One of the things that I find as a president's role is to make sure that when you are at your meetings is that you recognize your members for all of the accolades that they've received. So when they reach their first Paul Harris Fellow, when they became a Paul Harris Society, a Bequest Society, these are all some of the awards that your members are going to be able to achieve. And when they do that, you can also go online to Rotary International. There's write-ups that you can go ahead and use as a canned speech for them. You can make your own up, be as professional or as ad lib as you'd like, but it's a great way to make sure that you do this in front of your other members of your club so that they can see the importance of giving and to celebrate their achievements and it really becomes contagious so that they're going to also want to give. One of the things that you're going to be looking at coming up pretty soon, probably in the January, February timeframe, is going to be the new allocation of funds. And these allocation of funds are going to be what's going to tell you how much money that you folks are going to have coming back to your club for both your district grants as well as your global grants. So when you look at that, you're going to see that on the side there, it says total DDF. And that total DDF says $3,033 for Ala Moana for that club. So I'm just doing a snapshot of a few clubs. But there it shows you how much money that's going to be coming back to your club. And when it comes back to your club, it's going to come back to you in two forms. One of it's going to be in what we call no match. And no match is free money. It doesn't have to have anything to do with matching it or anything else. It's just money that's going to be given back to you folks to use for any of your district grants. So this can be used for projects that you folks do within your club, ones that you do regularly, and you could use these funds to help fund that. And it makes your club more effective because now you're using somebody else's money that's come back to your club to fund your projects. The other one is what we call matched DDF. And there you can see at the top of the page, there's 1,213 for no match, 1,820 for the matched. Now, match means that your club needs to give 1,820 in order to get another 1,820. So all in all, you're looking at $3,033 plus whatever you match for your budget for your fiscal year for the district grants. And the last column you see in green is what your club would be able to contribute for global grants. Now, these aren't your actual numbers. These are the numbers of several clubs that we've got for this particular year. But in January and February, you're going to be seeing around that time frame the new allocation coming out for next year. And when that comes out, that's a great time for you to meet with your committee chairs, to talk to your foundation chair, and figure out how much money each one's going to need to have, how you're going to want to utilize those funds, and to come up with your district grants that you're going to need for the foundation in order to submit that by the end of that deadline. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm not going to go over this in a lot of detail. It's just kind of just to give you an idea of what you want to be expecting in the near future. One of the things that's available to you, and I'm not sure how many of you have gone into Rotary International and looked at some of the reports, but there are financial reports that are available to you. In some cases, you won't have access to those because if you haven't been an officer or a president or in the foundation, you wouldn't be able to see these reports. But as your foundation chair or as the president, you will be able to see these reports. When you go into, I'll go back. When you go into myrotary.org, that's where you can go into the foundation reports. And you'll see that as you scroll down on the opening page after you sign in, it'll give you what they call, it'll say foundation and reports. When you pick up that, you'll see one of them that's going to say club fundraising analysis. And the fundraising analysis kind of gives you a snapshot of everything that your club has done for the last 5 years. So I pulled one up and I've blocked out the name so you don't know who it is, but this is one club. So this is a fundraising analysis. And if you see on the far left side at the top, it says annual fund goal. That's the goal that this club has set. The goal that they're going to want to raise $6,000 back in 2019-20, 2021 was 7, 21-22 is 8,000, and then for this year, 8,500. So this gives you, as a president, when you look at your history, you're going to be able to see what you've done over the last 5 years. And you're going to be able to say, okay, well, this we were way off on this year, and that year was good, this year was good. So maybe we need to figure out, based upon those numbers that we did achieve, where we should be setting our goals for how much we're going to want to be going for the annual fund for that next year. So you can set that goal. As you see here on the next column over on this section here, I'm not sure if you see my cursor. Or do I have to move it to my third screen? I got 3 screens open, folks, so I'm juggling screens. See if I can. Do you see it now, the cursor?
You moved it. It was there before, David.
Good. So I wanted to make sure I knew which one I was showing. Okay, so this one, yeah, so this one here is showing you how much that is actually given to the fund. So they fell short on their number. Well, they're not falling short on their number, actually, because this year isn't done yet. It's only 6 months into the year. So if you look at these 2 lines at the top, it shows you that they're pretty good. This club is pretty good with regards to how much they've expected to raise and that they did hit their numbers. And it actually shows that at the bottom line over here, that they are exceeding their numbers year to date from what they expect. So these are good tools. It also shows you you've got your average per capita giving, your membership quantities for that particular year. So if you see your memberships going up or down, that will allow you to maybe judge how much you think you're going to be able to raise for annual fund giving. Any questions on that? All right. So pull up your clubs, print that out. There's a lot of detail that comes into that, and that would be a good tool for you to be able to use as your budget tool for what you're going to try to put in as your goals for next year. This kind of shows what the district is doing as a total accumulated. Now, this doesn't really have any bearings to you as a club, but it does show that our numbers are a little bit low, but that's also because we only had 52% of our clubs this year actually put in goals. So that, our numbers are really low because we haven't put in goals. So this year we haven't done a really good job, and some of us are guilty, including our club, where we forgot to put the goals in there. So there's also one called Club Recognition Summary. And if you haven't played with these are great tools to open up, play with, read, and at the end, they always give you some descriptions of what some of it means. Now here's what the report looks like. It's going to show the IDs right over here. Let me go back to my cursor. The IDs of each individual would be here, and their names would be here. But again, I blocked this out for protection of the club that I'm looking at right here. There is also a yes or a no as membership. Now, can anybody tell me, and this might be where you can get your cursor on your button for raise your hands, and Caroline, you want to tell me who's the first one to do it? If it says no in this particular section, what does that mean? What would you think that means? Someone have an answer? All right, no answers? Okay.
I raised my hand.
I'm
Right.
sorry, Emily Smith and I raised our hands. Kara England.
Okay, Emily, go
I
ahead.
can't,
I would say
in fairness, I can't see everybody.
Okay, this may not work, but we'll go ahead and play with it anyway. Because I don't see everybody also.
Do you want me to watch the hands on this
If
one?
you-
It was Emily
you-
that was first on the hand.
All right, so Emily, go
Okay.
ahead with your answer.
Well, I say if it says no, that you're not a club member.
All right, so that's a good question, a good guess. But what Rotary does is when you bring a new member into the club, we don't want to penalize them and make them have to give money to the contribution immediately. So when they've got a no on it, that means that they have got a reprieve. Doesn't mean that they can't give. They can obviously give if they so desire. But know that when you've got, as a president, when you've got a new member coming into we don't want to just barrage them and say, now they've got to give money. Boy, what a welcome in June, on the last month of the year, you bring somebody in and then you tell them, oh, here's your membership dues. Here's this. Oh, and by the way, we need $100 from you for the foundation. Oh, that wouldn't be very nice. So my suggestion is to make sure that, you understand that when you've got a no on that, it's a new member and they've got a reprieve and they don't have to give to the Rotary Foundation for that period of that year. Once the year is over with, then everything goes back to yes, and you'll see that they've got that all taken care of. If you notice, there's also recognition amounts where it says there, and you see 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. Can anybody tell me why it stops at 9,000? How many Paul Harrises can somebody earn? The max is 9.
The max is 9. Then you become a major donor.
Major donor, very good. Let's put you down also for a Cupid doll. I'm sorry, I don't see your name on it. Hugh.
Hugh
Hugh?
from Waibuku and Emily from Hickam.
Yeah, let's give you both of them 100 points.
Thank you.
Okay. So when we say recognition, we're not talking money, we're talking recognition points. Rotary doesn't like to say cash because we don't want to tell people how much cash they're giving. In some cases, you do have cash that you've given, but in some cases, you also have earned recognition points. Does anybody know how much recognition points you get for every dollar? For every dollar you give, anybody got that question? For every dollar you give, you get 1 recognition point.
Jay
Yes.
has his hand up.
Jay, go ahead.
Jay,
All
are
right.
you on? Jay, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to be quiet here, and I'm the only one in the house. You get what I was going to say. You do get one, but you also get points that you can give to someone else.
Well, that's the recognition points. So
Right.
for
But no,
every,
I'm saying every
Yeah.
dollar you get 1 point to yourself.
right.
Plus.
So for every dollar you give, you get 1 recognition point. So while you are accumulating your recognition amount, you also see on the far right-hand side over here where there's a foundation recognition availability. These are all of the points that people can use to give to other people. So for instance, the club, which is the top line here, says 66,000. That's 66,000 points that this club can give away to anybody else. All you have to do is have the board approve it, and those points can be used to match other people's giving, and I like to use it to match, because that way you're still getting some cash to the foundation. Just don't give away free points like I'm giving away today. But it's good to be able to say, when somebody gives, if they're going to give to the foundation, we'll match that dollar for dollar. Now, does anybody know what the minimum dollar amount you have to give for matching points? That's 100 points. So you need to, in order to transfer, and who raised their hand on that one?
I did again, but I
Say
know it's
again.
100.
All right, you get it again, another 100 points for Hugh. Not for Hugh, I'm sorry, for Jay. All right, so I'm going to move on. So you see here that there's points that are available. There's an individual in this club has individually 34,000 points. We use those at the end of the year when we want to. Well, actually, in November, we spin a wheel and we match people's cash contribution with points. Sometimes it's 6 times the amount that they give, and that's a big bonus. You can have fun with it. You can do some gambling with it. You can recognize people to give them points that aren't Rotarians. The only people you don't want to give your dog or your cat. I'm sorry, Sandy, I know you want to, but you can't give your dog or cat a Paul Harris Fellow. You can give your friends, you can give your family members a Paul Harris Fellow. They don't have to do anything for it. All you do is take your points and make them a Paul Harris Fellow. All right, so we're going to move on. The Club Foundation banner is something that you might want to look at, and that also gives you a snapshot of where your club is at with regards to a tool to provide you with a snapshot of where your club is going. Here are some of the awards that your club could receive. A TRF Giving Award, which, have you ever thought about maybe just saying, we're going to get approval from the board to have everybody give $25, including the dues, for the foundation? If you got $25 from everybody with their dues, then your club is 100% TRF giving, or they could be 100% E-Ray. The only condition is that after everybody gives $25, your club still needs to have a per capita giving of $100 or more. So obviously some people are going to give a lot more money and some are going to get a little bit less. But if you get everybody to give $25 and it goes to the annual fund, and then other people give, the people that give more, that are generous, that will give more, they'll continue giving. And once your per capita giving hits 100, then you've become 100% E-Ray, achieve that, and you'll get a banner for your club that you can celebrate with the rest of your club members. There's also sustaining member achievement, which means that you've got 100% of your members that give $100. Now that's a tougher one to get, but what I'm trying to bring across to all of you is that as presidents, you can work with your club members and your board and get up there and set a goal that's achievable. And if you get a goal that's achievable and you set that with your members, then you got permission to ask them for those funds when you need it. You don't have to be begging for them. You don't have to feel like you're imposing, because once you've set that goal with your club and with your members, it's okay to stand up and say, hey, this is the time of the year that we really need your money. Can I get your $25 if you haven't given it already? And I have no problem in doing that with our club because they know that what our goal is every single year. And so when I stand up, they know what it is. I don't even ask them. They come up to me with checks that go, here's my $250. And I go, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I take that and I say, can I use this to share with the rest of my club, the rest of our club? And he'll go, sure, no problem. And I'll stand up and say, I just got $250 from Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. Anybody else got their checks? Bring them in. And that becomes contagious. Then people start bringing out their checkbooks because they go, oh, I forgot. I'll do it. So have fun with it. There's other awards. There's Paul Harris Fellowship Club. There's TRF Giving. But these are all different things that we
David?
can. Yeah.
Kara has a hand up.
Yes. What is it, Kara?
Okay, you mentioned $250.
Mhm.
Your example. Where did you get that 250? Because I can
That was
see the
that.
25.
That is just our goal. That was our goal as our
Oh,
club. See, our club has been a sustaining E-Ray club for 4 or 5 years now. So we do
okay,
$100 per capita for every member of our club. But we
okay.
actually set a goal for 250. And we had a
Oh,
foundation chair that was giving it sounds like a gross amount, but he didn't give. He got up and said, I will match dollar for dollar every dollar you give up to $250 per member. So if you give 250, I will match that 250 up to $10,000.
okay.
So, if you've got a member that is a generous donor,
Mhm.
if they give $2,000 every year, instead of them just standing up and giving $2,000, why don't you say, hey, would you put that in as a match? Meaning, I'll give up to $2,000 if anybody will give money, and once they match that, I will match that dollar to dollar up to $2,000. He's still going to give his $2,000, but he's also encouraged the rest of his members to give to help him get to that $2,000 of giving.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
people like to spend other people's money.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a sustaining E-Ray TRF club. What did you say you were?
We're a sustaining E-Ray,
E-Ray.
sustaining E-Ray. Yeah, every
And
Rotarian every year we are sustaining, which means we give $100 per person, and it's not easy. But we actually will sometimes pass the hat. People do happy dollars. We'll pass the hat and say, hey, we've got a couple of members who just cannot do it, or we don't say their names, they may not even be there, but we'll just say we're $400 short, and I'll pass the hat and I'll get $400, and I'll just say, now this money is just randomly given by cash, so we can't, it's going to be used to cover the deficit, and the rest of that will be given as a general fund to the club for the foundation.
Dave,
just
Burton,
the
Go ahead.
TRF, the $25, has anyone ever included just part of the dues, or does this have to be a separate deal?
You should always go ahead.
We added it to our dues this year.
Oh,
And
okay.
we are an E-Ride club for several years.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do that, it's always important to tell them that you're doing that, so that they can also write that off. They're going to get credit for it anyway, but
Okay.
some people like to keep it as a separate line item in the invoice, but they show that the $25 is in there for the foundation.
yeah, we have it as a separate line item.
That's a good practice.
Also, Vern Lowry of Kona has his hand up.
Hey,
Yes.
just maybe back up a bit. When you have a new member come in and you start talking about foundation and all these things, I was like this a year ago and I got very confused
Yes.
about why. I understand the need for the foundation, but it just seems like Rotary's created a lot of incentives, but it's very confusing. And
I
is
I
there,
agree with you.
is there some, I guess I'll call it a flashcard or something that kind of, we could give a new member coming in. Here's what possible recognition you have for joining Rotary and what it means. I know you have the slides here, but it just, and I'm still learning myself because we have all in our club, we have all the way at the top, over 9,000. I guess we have major donors all the way down to nobody that's donating. So,
Vern, I would say the one thing that I've always want to keep it simple is we're probably the only charity where the money that we give to the foundation comes back to our club to use for our projects.
okay.
If you talk about that, if anything hits home, it's you're giving money to Rotary International, and Rotary International uses that money for 3 years, and they're using the interest for their overhead. At the
Right.
end of those 3 years, that money comes back to your club. So the more consistent your giving is, and slowly increasing that, it doesn't give you these up and down years. You're going to have consistent money coming back every single year. That's going to come back to your club in matching funds and non-matched funds. That's the thing that you want to hit home, is that as long as you mark that money as annual fund shared, it's going to come back.
Yeah. Well, I'll clearly say that, you know, with the recognition points and the banners and everything else, that's a lot of information to talk to a new member
Yes.
coming in.
Yeah, I would not do that.
Like, what does the points mean, and et cetera, et cetera. I got it. I appreciate keeping it simple. Thank you.
Thank you. And I got to remind myself to keep it simple, because I've been doing this so long that a lot of this is secondhand. All right. This is what we call a club banner report. And the banner report shows you a snapshot of those different awards. We talked about the TRF giving, which is $25. That $25 for TRF could be anything. It could be to the annual fund. It could be the Polio Plus. It could be to your endowment. As any dollar amount goes to TRF. Now, if you give everything to the annual fund share, that's $25. Then you've become a E-Ray and a TRF simultaneously. So you don't become an E-Ray unless you're giving it to the annual fund. TRF covers all of the givings to any of the foundations within Rotary. So if someone gives all their money to annual fund and they get that $25, this individual here, you can see, is all the way across the board. That means they actually are sustaining. So they gave, I can tell by just looking at that, they gave a donation of $100 because they reached at the same date all 3 accolades. So they became a TRF member, an E-Ray member, and a sustaining member. I'm not going to go through this in a lot of detail, folks, but I'm happy to answer any questions if things come up. This is a Polio Plus report. It's, again, just gives you a snapshot of what you've been giving on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, so you can see where that is. And we sometimes track polio at certain times of the month. Obviously, October is World Polio Day, October 24th, and that's a big celebration. And that's where we find that most of our monies for polio are coming in.
Dave, we have a couple more hands up. Saw Kara
Yes.
first.
Kara,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes, when you mentioned about recognition, so that example where that person gave $100 and went off to TRF, E-Ray, and sustaining member, is this something that you recognize? Do you recognize that individual?
Not
giving?
necessarily, because it really isn't a big deal until the entire club gets it. That's where you really want to do the celebration. But you can recognize them for the giving of $100. That's all. You always want to do that.
Okay.
Now that $100 might get them closer to their Paul Harris Fellow. It may get them their Paul Harris Fellow. So you're going to get recognized, or you're going to get notification when there's awards for them, because those are usually shipped to the secretary or the president of the club, and you'll be able to recognize them for that. But The other one
Okay.
is just a snapshot. So when you're trying to get 100% of your members, you can look at that one form and you can see, hey, I've got 80% of my members all have that done, but here's those 2 that haven't. And we need to work on those 2.
Got it. Thank you.
And Mike also had his hand up.
Mike?
Hello. So with regards to Polio Plus, is there a place where you can look up your members' donations, or is it only at the club level?
You can look up polio by the member itself. So it goes into that detail.
You can.
You can.
From which report?
There is a polio report that breaks it down by individual.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if everybody has access to that. So if you
Okay.
don't have access, let me know. And I can see if somebody, I have access. I know Roz has access, and they can tell you exactly how much that is. For some, there's a reason for that because of privacy. Rotary doesn't like to tell how much cash somebody gives. That's why they use points instead of recognition points instead of dollars, because that might be all money that's there, but you don't know that. So when you see recognition points, it is just that, recognition points. But when someone says, I want to know how much cash a person has given, that's an invasion of privacy. And, very few people can see that report.
No, I definitely just meant did they all donate to the Rotary Fund, to the Polio Plus, not how much did they give?
Yes, it will show you that they've given to polio, and there is a polio report that you can pull on that. Okay. So there are some dates that are coming up. These are dates that are kind of important. I just wanted to share these with you. The DD district designated grant allocations, that's the ones we just talked about, the ones that's going to come out in January, February. That's going to help you work with your team to set up your budgets for your fiscal year and submit your allocation of funds for that. The 23 and 24 fiscal district grant reports are due on May 31st. So the current grants for this year, their reports have to be done on May 31st for the foundation in order for you to qualify to use the funds for next year. So the president of this year and the foundation will be responsible for making sure that all of those district grant reports are done on the 31st of May. On June 15th, the applications that you folks as presidents are submitting for your district applications for district grants, how you're going to spend that matched and no matched funds that are going to be allocated to your club, that has to be turned in by June 15th. We talked about World Polio Day on October 24th. And this month of November is always Foundation Month, and that's where clubs sometimes celebrate that. That's when we spin our wheel every year and we kind of hype it up, and people line up and bring their checks and spin the wheel and see what number they hit. There is a dreaded 0 as well as a 6-time number, and some people have hit that dreaded 0, but it's all in fun. And then the last one, the global grant spending. So the global grants, everybody is getting an allocation of funds that half of it's for global grant and half of it's for district grants. So even if you don't have your own global grant, if you aren't doing one, you can support a global grant, and that participation is just as much as important as the club that is actually sponsoring that global grant. So don't walk away because you can't find a global grant. Go out and use your funds to support a global grant that you believe in. And that way you're an equal participant. It doesn't matter if it's $100 or if it's $4,000 that your club donates. You are treated equally as a donor to that global grant. And I'll tell you, if you are a person that is doing a global grant and you're trying to raise that $30,000, you appreciate even $100, because that $100 becomes $300 almost when it comes to the matching. And that $300 is great, and it gets you closer to that dollar amount that you need to bring for that global grant. These are some of the people that are involved in the foundation. Some of the names will change, but that a new one will come up for the org chart for next year. But the last one is just to say thank you all and open up for any other questions if there's time allotment, because I didn't time myself on this one and I'm way over my 15 minutes.
Well, we have time for a few more questions, if anybody has any. Kara again.
I know. Thank you, David, for being so patient, because you've got me thinking of how to get every member involved in at least being a 25 or TRF giving, because we have a couple of members that just don't. So can you go back and explain to me how you, that wheel thing? Because we have a wheel, but it has numbers 1 through, I think, 30. But you said you have it from 0 to 6.
I just take the wheel that you have and I put paper over them with a number on it.
Okay.
So I go 1x, 1x, 1x. I separate those, and then I get 2x, 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 and then I got some 3x's, and maybe only 1 or 2 of the zeros and the 6.
Okay.
And it's enough of a gambling wheel to cause people to go, "Oh, I get to spin a wheel, and I'm not even at Vegas."
And so this is the matching, right? So like someone gave a $250 check, you are spinning the wheel to see matching. Is that, I just want to make
you're spinning the wheel so that you're going to give them that many extra points. So let's say they get 250, or let's just make it easy math, $100. They give $100, and then you're going to give them 100 matching points. Let's say they have 800 points already, and they only need 200 points for their Paul Harris Fellow. They just got their Paul Harris Fellow with $100. And if you have a 6 on there, and a person gave $200, they just got a Paul Harris Fellow with a spin of a wheel.
Got it. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
If just 1 or 2 things pops up as something that you can use that will work with your club, that's a success. You're not going to use all of these things. These are all tools. If you can find what works for your club, use that. Whenever I have a meeting for the foundation, which I'm doing for our club next week, I'll call up a bunch of people that I know that are generous givers, and I'm saying, "Hey, I need to have somebody to start kick this moving. And would you be willing to stand up and give us your checks?" And sure enough, after the second or third person is giving me their check, I'm seeing people reaching into their purses or in their back pocket for their wallet, and they're bringing out either cash or they're bringing out the checks because it was just a reminder. And while people are walking up to spin the wheel, they're at their table writing more checks. And I give them warnings for the whole month of November that this is going to happen. And we always put it at the end of the month. So do what works for your club. Some people would say, "Hey, that's hokey, and our club would never do that." That's fine. If it doesn't work, don't use it. But if you think it will work and it sticks, then it becomes a tradition.
So if I may, I'll ask everybody, what is the relationship between giving to the foundation and your club membership? How does our giving to the foundation affect our club membership? Any ideas? Mike?
When people give to the foundation, then we can do more in the community, and that gets our status up in the community.
Right. Vern, did you have something else?
What I kind of answered my question that it's really simple. It comes back to the club through district grant funding.
Right.
And then possibility we can also support others, global grants if we don't have our own through that. So that's how the individual can contribute and what impact it has.
Good. And Caroline?
We have an enthusiastic group because I've been talking for 10 years, and I love the idea that I can do incredible things here in Honolulu and in Hawaii. But the fact that the money, my $25, can go and help somebody in Africa or Indonesia, that just blows me away. So when I call or text my club members and say, you know, it's giving time again, can we see your 25? Where do you want it to go? And we get at least their 25. And a tiny secret, most of them give more. So we deserved E-raise. So I made sure we turned the paperwork in and got it last year. I hope to get it this year, and we should. And also, Ted, in your year. I had a birthday party, a landmark birthday party, and I don't need things. And so money to the foundation went in. Everybody raised the level. And it was a very good party. But Roz was there and collected more money for Polio Plus, but some people didn't want to do Polio Plus, and she let that slide. If somebody in your club has a landmark birthday and doesn't want to get stupid, turning it into a fundraiser for Rotary Foundation is a really simple, good idea. And I recommend it because it worked. We did over $1,000.
Great. And how does giving to the foundation impact our public image? Or how does our public image impact our giving to the foundation? Any ideas?
Well, it sees you in the community because you're out there doing projects, because now you can fund more projects. And so you're going to be out there doing more things with the rest of your Rotary members. And that's what you want to show them. You want to show them all the projects you've done and how much you spent for it and how much was covered by the foundation. So at the end of the year, or even as the November comes around at the foundation, part of my presentation to our club is, this is how much you spent and this is how much we spent. So 60% of that was covered by Rotary, and we were able to do all of these projects. And then that's exciting. People see that.
Yeah. And people begin to understand what it is we actually do as Rotary. Chelsea,
That's right.
What else?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it all basically feeds into the prior question too, right? Because the more you can show the community that you're impactful and that their dollars are actually going to something, you know, the more that they're going to want to engage on their own level. Plus, I feel like people these days want to get involved, but they don't have the conduit to do so. They don't know how to get involved. And so the more that we can show them on every level that this is impactful, not only in our community, but abroad, the more we're able to you know, increase membership, but meaningful membership, not just numbers, people that are going to want to get involved.
Right. Very good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. Any final question? Caroline, you had another thought.
I also want to say that because somebody this year can do 25, and that's what they can do, they're generous heart and triplets, you know, things have to balance out. People quite often are as generous as they can be, and we have to appreciate every $25 donation as much as we appreciate every $100 or $1,000 donation, because sometimes for some families, and you know, we're all over 21, we all been in months where the $25 donation was a stretch. So hurrah when the $1,000 donation is easy to do. People, Rotarians, have huge hearts. They don't always have huge wallets.
Yeah. And I just want to circle back quickly to Vern's comment about somebody new to Rotary, and we start to inundate them with all of these terms and all of these different recognition levels. So let's keep it simple. And to Caroline's point, let's also not intimidate people that you have to start out by giving a very large number to be a worthwhile contributor. So Dave's heard me talk about this before, that, what if you donate $10, can you donate $10 a month? That's, if you go to Starbucks for coffee, that's 1 or 2 coffees per month. You can do that through Rotary Direct, have it automatically charged to your credit card each month. You don't even have to think about it. And at the end of the year, now you've donated a total of $120. Well, if everybody in your club does that, that adds up to some significant money. So let's encourage people to be regular givers at whatever level they can be, and not just focus on the big numbers. The other data from Jeff Cochran, who's our Rotary International Annual Giving Officer, is that if someone begins donating to our Rotary Foundation within the first 18 months of joining a club, there's a high likelihood that they will be a lifelong contributor.
Yeah.
So the sooner they get into the habit, then the more likely it is that they will continue to be a supporter and contributor over the long term. So those are some data points for you as you think about what do you want to emphasize, what will work in your club, what kind of incentives do you want to promote in your club that works best for you. Chelsea, I see your hand is still up. Did you have another thought? Or is that from before?
And Ted, I think they may have
I think that was
changed that.
But Jay, did you have a final thought for us on this?
I do. What I do for my giving, and usually beyond that, is I give the number of years I've been in Rotary, $1 for each year. It's getting to be expensive now. It was $50 last year. I give $1 per my age on my birthday. And I give $1 for our wedding anniversary, which is now 55 years this past year. So all of a sudden, we were talking about landmark birthdays, but it's every birthday that you give it and doing and celebrating it. So that's how I give the minimum that I give every year.
Yeah, good ideas.
Good ideas.
Well, thank you all. These are all great questions and great ideas. So I encourage you to give it some thought as you begin to think about what kind of goals and priorities you want to have in your club next year. And we'll have more opportunities when we get together at PETS for you to actually set those goals and to put them into my Rotary. In the meantime, between now and pre-PETS, if I can do one quick share screen here with you. There are a number of us that don't have phone numbers in our profiles in Club Runner. So if I can ask you between now and pre-PETS, try to go log into your Club Runner. So here's mine. My club uses Club Runner for our website. So I go to our website, I go to this upper right area, I click on member area. If I was not already logged in, it would ask me to log in. And then it brings me up this navigation at the top. I want to go to my Club Runner. And then the second level navigation here at the top says my profile. So go into my profile, and here's my profile, and I scroll down, and if I needed to add my phone number, and this will be important for us as we go to PETS, that we do have phone numbers that we can call each other or text each other to make sure everybody knows where they're supposed to be at what time. So up on the upper right here, it says edit. You would click on edit, and then you could go down here and type in your phone number or change your phone number. And when you're done with that, you want to scroll back to the top and click where it says save. So if I can give you that little piece of homework between now and our pre-pets meeting. So thank you. Our time is up for this evening. I hope you found this a useful conversation and that you see there was a method to our madness of going through membership, public image, and foundation, that those three things all do relate to each other and help our clubs to grow and be strong and have significant impact in our communities. And we'll be using those foundational elements as we take our next steps together at pre-pets and at pets. And you should have my contact information in emails, or you can find me online. If there are any things that come up about your pets registration or other questions or issues, feel free to reach out anytime. And let's also give a big hand to Dave for joining us this evening and leading our discussion.
Thank you very much. And please send me the list of people so I can go ahead and get those credits provided to them.
Will do.
Thank you.
So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And we'll probably see each other online, but for this PE training, it'll be January 20th, 9 a.m. to 11:30.
Thank you, everyone.
Aloha.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Aloha.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye-bye.